Hi, welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. I'm Jenn Hayward. Excuse me. I know, I was caught drinking some ginger ale. I got Ed the Man in the background. Hey, we have a great show for you today. We have Barb Defazio. I like to call it Weird Wednesdays because if I'm not rhyming or alliterating, why bother? Barb is an artist local in the city. I was actually the first one to buy her when she went commercial to buy her product. And I'm very excited to have her on the show. But first, I like to babble to give people time to watch. So come and watch. I can't tell you to come and watch. It's going to say, Jenn Hayward Show is live, and you're supposed to go, oh my God, and press view or something, and then stay there. So do that. I see that none of you are. That's okay. That's okay. We will have some fun here. So, hello, one viewer from, it's always from my personal page. So if you're on my personal page, you want to do me a favor, go over the Jenn Hayward Show, look at the show, the same live stream, and then share it. You can't do comments from here, but otherwise, welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. So as I mentioned, Barb Defazio will be here. We're going to have a fabulous conversation. Before that, I have been pretty careful about on this show not talking about too much politics. I canceled Monday because not for Love Day. I canceled it because there was the Prime Minister giving a state of emergency address, and I was like, maybe I'll watch that. I mean, I would have just live streamed it and went. So that's not very fun. But we had a great show yesterday, and we're back again today. So I do want to mention, it's very interesting. So the convoy or supporters of the convoy in Ottawa are suggesting that all of the reversal of mandates are because of their protest. And I would like to say, what absolute horseshit. And I'm sorry to swear, but come on. They announced, so I announced this on Facebook and someone's like, yeah, and they showed me a screenshot. They announced back in October that the timeline was going to be March. They already announced that. So here is lift COVID. It has a date and at 19 by March, including mask mandate. That was always their goal. So trying to take credit. Okay, we have been obnoxiously horrible to everyone. Not everyone supporting it, but at this point, if you don't see the underlying roots of the organizers and that you kind of been bamboozled, I can't help you. Power to you, but it's a racist movement. So let's not pretend it isn't. Okay. So, but you can't claim that because you were obnoxious at the end of something already happening, that it's you. That's like George W. Bush taking credit for the Berlin Wall falling down, or someone walking by. Well, I said we shouldn't have a wall here, and it fell down. And they're like, look what I did. That's what the convoy is doing. They're saying, oh, you know, like if you guys were such fighters, you should have done it at the beginning. The only reason people were supporting it because they are also tired of mandates, but most reasonable people get it. I'm sorry if you disagree with me, but I just had to comment on the absolute ridiculousness of people taking credit for things that were already happening, right? That would be like, you know, me saying that I lost weight by dieting. Yeah, but I also had the weight loss surgery, so I had a little bit of an advantage. So give me a break. All right. So that's that. Ooh, it's a very exciting day in Hayward land. Josh and I signed our bankruptcy documents today, so we're officially bankrupt. We're not worried. And that's one of our many calls. We understand we failed our business, and this is why bankruptcy laws were set up. It's not going to be a fun 9 months for us, but I figure the earlier you start, the earlier you finish, right? So that's what that is. Barb should be here within a couple minutes, and off we go. My goodness, I'm so excited to have her here. And some days I'm like, I don't want to do it. But I'm really committed to coming every day for the 2 people who come and watch me. No, now some days there's 2, there's 4, and then so many people watch after. And Barb just came into the background. So we're going to push politics aside, and we're going to talk about art, because that is why she is here. If she wants to talk politics, she can, but her and I will get very angry. And the difference is I can't drink anymore. I stopped drinking. So I mean, like, I'm going to have to get high and then I have to drive. This is not a good plan. So we'll just maybe not talk about business, but I'm going to put her thing here and I'm bringing Barbi up. Barb Defazio, how are you?
Hello.
I look like a ghost with this lighting. I'm working on it. You look great. That's your studio behind you.
Yes. So welcome to the studio.
That is great. That's great. So your inspiration. So you are an artist, and you and I have known each other for a long time. And I remember the first time you were posting your work, and I said, "I love that." And so I was one of your first purchasers.
Yes, you were. You got the very first 4 whimsical ladies. Yes.
Yeah, and that's great. So why? So showing that there, I know I have some pictures that I have to download. My computer actually broke, so I'm on my husband's computer, which doesn't have the photos. And it was so funny because I'm just like, well, I'm not canceling her because she already shared, So we'll just do it in this weird lighting.
Go for it.
Look like a ghost. But tell us, okay, so behind you have whimsical ladies, right? So you like the color red, obviously.
Obviously, you might be able to tell my favorite color for sure, business name, as well as if I choose the color will tend to be red.
Well, of course, red is, red's a nice color. I mean, I look great in red, and I think that's all that matters. But so what is it about the whimsical ladies? Like, I know what I like about them, and I'll talk about that, but what makes you want to draw them?
Well, it's so interesting because sometimes you don't always, I'm very intuitive. I just like to create. I don't want to be too technical. I don't like, so they kind of flow through me. And I'm just like, one day, my best friend's partner, he's asking me, where do you think all these ladies come from? And I was like, oh, I think they just flow and appear, I had this kind of, he's like, no. I see your daughters. He knows, a fair amount of my friends. I see your friends here. So I think it's kind of like vibes of all the wonderful ladies that I know end up appearing, I think, in one way or another.
Well, like me. Well, and you've also, so you do, the wall portraits. You put something on them though to make it shiny, because I know that. Yeah. So tell me about.
Yes. So it's resin. It's art resin is actually the brand name, and so what you see, the bigger pieces back here are resined, and then what's cool is I do like about 3 or 4 series, but one of the series that I have, I'm going to do this. It's called Cloud Ladies. And this is literally a whiteboard too. I can pull it closer if you let.
What?
And of course I forgot to grab a dry erase marker, but the idea is that you can mark on them and dry erase off of them. And it's kind of like this fun, functional
art. Is really cool. I love that. I absolutely love that. No, I think that's really cool because people love it. If you have little ones, oh my God, like it's that, might as well have them right there instead of on everything.
Yes.
So I just want to say for the people who are watching on my personal page, Jenn Hayward, you can't make comments that I'll see. If you want to go to the Jenn Hayward show, you can make comments. So if you're on the Jenn Hayward show, make a comment. I'll show it up here live. So Barb, I'm going to show a couple of your photos. So this is your very typical, it's on the screen. I can't move it, unfortunately. Oh, I switched just places. That's cool. I'm like, wait, I like being on the left. There we go. But so this is a typical whimsical lady, and she has pigtails, kind of. Is that?
Yeah, kind of some funky hairstyle, and I think you're going to hint to it later. But another part of me, in the studio is obviously joy, but also empowerment. I want. Some of the ladies
what I like about the whimsical is like, just even the hair is just a little, whimsy. And and I don't know, I probably should have asked you this, but with all the circles, is that like a Mandela kind of thing, like a woman spirit, or is that just pretty? Like, is it?
It's for this one, I think it just was very useful and fun. And I ended up with these kind of tree lollipop kind of ideas, I think, or what have you. It's, as an artist, it's always fun. Obviously to show art in person, to have people view it, which has been a bit of troublesome lately, but everyone's interpretation can be different. So I don't always like to, completely nail down a story for each one of them, if you will, because I think it's fun to have it open to interpretation.
Well, I think that is what good art is. I mean, otherwise it's like, and I mean, I'm not an art appreciator. I like what I like. I don't know why I like it. It's pretty or it's not pretty, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I like dogs playing poker because anything with a dog is awesome.
Yeah.
But my husband's very artsy. So when we both go into like an art museum or art gallery, we don't go together. I mean, first of all, I won't even go on my museum rant, but I have been to the boat museum 3 times in the Maritimes, and he's not listening, but the last time I just took a nap. I was like, it's a boat, but I'm kind of like that with art too. I'm like, I don't get it. But I've started to paint. I think you saw I did what? Well, before I would so when I was in therapy, I did a lot of painting. And what happened when I did the painting was it wasn't good. And I'd bring them to work and just put them for my mindfulness. And someone's like, "Oh, that's such a sweet thing your daughter did." I was like, because she's 7 yet. But but I do like that you have a storyline behind them, but it's not a full story because I mean, really, they're all red. But I had 4 separate ladies, and even though they were all red, they all had something just a little bit different about them. And that's what I liked about it. It was like, I can have a set. So I had 4 of yours right above where I sit. And so now I just want a big boudoir photo of me. The kid said, no, what are you going to do? I'm going to show another one of yours here that you sent. You can't see you now, but
that's okay.
So is this what I think it is? It's kind of like a meme almost kind of thing where you could write like a card or something.
This is another one of the Cloud Ladies, actually. It's a resin piece. I think this one's about 12 by 24. It's actually available, same with the other one I just showed. So it is, you can write messages. This one has been fun to put quotes on. And that one can actually go 2 different directions, right? Like, so she can kind of,
You know, it would be good when mandates are lifted. I don't know if you watch Adventure Seeker Sarah. She's here every Tuesday. But this is a project. Her kids would be really cool. The resident stuff. I think we were going to do that, and then COVID hit.
Yeah, and actually, this is always fun to point to things. But I'm about to set up an event for a workshop, actually. So I'm starting to bring those back. And you're totally right. Those were kind of on deck for COVID. Before COVID, I should say.
Before COVID, right?
And they're coming back. I'm going to do this one online. And it's called Love Note to You. And the idea is just being able to write yourself a note. You just talked about how art can be very therapeutic. And the idea here is you do a fun little, watercolor or some other colorful background, maybe a bit of a self-portrait kind of idea. I'll help with that. And a quote. And you're able to put it, where you like to see it every day and kind of have something inspiring for you that comes from you, right?
And I think that's what's neat. So now that I actually took easy painting for a bad painter, and I put it up, and it was I was trying to see if it's still here, but it's not so how much I keep my stuff, but it was like a little flower. I posted on Facebook. I'm like, it just, it was a mindful exercise. Before I would say, like, here's my art gallery. Art is very interesting too. When my kids, so when they were 4, 5, and 6, so maybe a couple of years later, we had, an art day where we did lots of art. And I had 3 kids. So Jonathan, like my middle one, just farted and said, like, I'm done. But my oldest one, he said, like, his picture, he had an entire background story for every character in it. Like, it was like an hour-long interpretive art presentation, which was amazing. My daughter, who's a little more like me, was like, here's a piece of paper. Because I was like, what does it represent? And she's like, it's a piece of paper. And I drew this. Like, that was what it meant. And that's good too, because it's like, what do you mean deeper meaning? It's pretty, and I made it. And it was like, so art doesn't have to be as pretentious as people make it out to be.
Exactly.
They make it inaccessible, I think, sometimes for the masses. And that's unfortunate, because it could discourage people who, I'm not good enough, right? Well, whatever, I'm doing it, and it's color, and I'm not playing TikTok for 2 minutes, and I'm sober, and it's just something, right?
And I was definitely one of the things I'm going to try to aim for in my workshops is to try to help people let go of that idea. Like, just, creating to just create.
Yeah. Right. And that's it. And I think like, so that's, and again, I go always back to her, but Adventure Seeker Sarah, that's what, her homeschooling has all been about. And she posts that all the time. Like, imagine if everything wasn't a competition and we just did stuff not to be an artist, but to have fun. We played a game not to be an Olympian, but to exercise. And I think there is that culture of, oh, I can just have fun. And for you, you're having fun. You're making a business out of having fun. And so that is so neat to see. And I just want to show, there's another one that is not red, but the way you used red was just beautiful. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to take your banner off for a second so they can see the photo. Yeah. So I really like this because it strayed away a little bit from your main color scheme. The most beautiful blue eyes, and then of course the raspberry touch on the thing. So what inspired this lady?
Well, I was trying to expand. This was actually for an exhibition called Wall Candy, and I just took that candy idea and wanted to explore different colors because even though I love red, I do different colors. And I don't know, I always love a punch of red. Always works.
Punch of red is nice. Like I think as women, we sometimes accidentally get a punch of red. So we just like, what nostalgia? Oops, I accidentally put it back up.
And as you can also tell, I try to keep away from like this idea of like long hair. I want different hairstyles. As diverse as I can do. One of the things I've absolutely learned about myself is most people want actually custom orders. I do a lot of custom orders. So the pieces are kind of inspire people, and then they'll usually jump to, wait a second, could you do?
Like, would I just send you a picture of me and say, turn me into a whimsical lady?
Absolutely.
And
then it's like your favorite color. What do you want to represent in this? I've done some really fun ones. One of our local science journalists actually had one, and we've got the Mars rover and her like on Mars kind of a thing. So illustration is fun, art is fun because you can tell stories.
Well, and I've seen some of your mural work. So you've done some work with Little Sisters in Spencerville, and tell me more about that. So that's the process is it resin as well there, or? Because it's not like something you put on the wall. It is the wall window kind of thing, right?
Right. When I did the window coverings, the window coverings we had actually done on I think we just did it on like brown paper, like a thick, I shouldn't say brown paper. It was a really thick art kind of paper, and that was super fun. And I've done that a couple of times now. So yeah, Gina. Hats off to Gina. She's gave me that was probably one of my first jobs as like.
I think I remember because I was sitting there when you guys made the deal.
You totally did. You were there.
So much good business happened with all of us just visiting Zola's and Gina. It was like, okay, we're having lunch, and now we all walk out with business.
And those were really fun because again, she had a story that she wanted to tell. And I was able to create it for her in a fun way instead of just
That's why we get along so well, is we're both storytellers. You're just doing it visually. Ooh, we should do it. I think I approached you because I have a million ideas at night.
I can relate. There's no
let's do a comic strip or something like that. I can't draw, but I can write funny things. But I'm like, oh my gosh, if I created as much as my head said to do, but I have more time now, as you know. So
yes, well, I can relate to the endless ideas. It's not I definitely don't lack ideas, and I know you don't either.
No, it's time, resources, and sometimes you just have to make choices for the greater good, and sometimes paying the bills is the greater good, and sometimes it's not. So there you go. So what would you say to young people who want to get into art? Like what is the best way to go about it? Because there's so many different genres of art and things.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways. I mean, I didn't go to an official art school to learn any of this. I've just always been creative, and then I would take workshops or drawing lessons, or I just explored kind of things on my own. There's definitely not just saying art school, certainly if that's a way to go, but I don't think it's always completely necessary to do the official way. And I don't know, I'm exploring this with, we have teens, and there's many paths to our destination, and who has followed a straight line path to whatever, they were doing. So I would say explore, take the lessons, do do it.
Well, I think that's it. Like it's something you get better when you're doing and you learn, just like anything else. I think maybe because people come out with a product that I want to tell you an art story. I've probably told you this over a fire in the summer, but other people weren't here. So we had when I went to university, so many years ago, at the University of Regina, I took a course for my art credit. And it was an interpretation of Hamlet through the various art fields, right?
Nice.
I had, as a high schooler, failed grade 12 English twice. So, and then upgraded once. So I taken Hamlet 3 times, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, I'm going to ace this. So, you get in groups, and there's 4 professors. One's from play, it's like theater, from music, from visual arts, and postmodernism. Or something like that. And so so these are the categories and the professors. And I'm in a group of kids, and I'm a little older. And we're told, okay, so you take a character and you do a visual art piece. And I was like, all right. And so we all were like, different things. So I did Ophelia as the only real female in there. And I did a scrapbook, and I didn't even do it. I had my employees do it. I worked at the Women's Center. But so they did it, but I took it. And I was like, okay. And so there's like a collage, not a scrapbook, like a collage. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so this represents this. And I was like, this represents, as women having coffee. And this represents if Ophelia had a social network, she might not have killed herself. And there was a pause, and all 4 professors went, and I got a great mark. And I was like, art is dumb at the pretentious level, because for me, it was like, I can spin bullshit out of anything. And it was actually good what I said, but no actual visual art, but it was just funny. So sometimes I think that pretentious, the big story, and then sometimes it's like warranted too. Sometimes it is like, ooh, and ah.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference. Like I couldn't tell the difference again between like a Rembrandt and a dog's playing Rembrandt. Like I just couldn't, but I just go by what I like. And what's pretty, I couldn't name. It's the same thing. I can't name a lot of like fancy authors, but I know lots of authors, right? I'm definitely, Lisa Scottoline kind of book, or, that sort of thing. So if you have that advice, that's great. And you have your own kids, and you have your husband. So your studio is just a few years old, right?
Yes. The studio, I think, we built it kind of pre-COVID, and it was funny how it all worked out, because my husband was home about a month before everybody else, because he'd been traveling, and they were kind of like, yeah, you can't come to the office anymore.
Come to the office. No, I hate to be that first person back from a business trip who coughed at us meeting. Okay, we're out of here. Yeah.
So my studio used to be in the house, so he just took over that room that was kind of ready for him. So it worked. That worked out nice. Planned it, but we did not.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, I was going to come visit, but we said to stay outside. And so now, now that it's winter, I'm like, less fire, more warmth. Yes. But I definitely will come in spring. So where can people get your art?
So I'm pretty easy to find. If you search Facebook, Instagram, Red Raspberry Studios, I'll come up. I've got the website ready to go too, Red Raspberry Studios. Just make sure you pluralize .com. And when I'll definitely throw in my links.
Absolutely, yeah. Throw them in below. I'm going to share the video on a couple of groups, and then let's see some love for Barb. I'd love to see someone do a custom piece. I know I wanted to originally, but Gopher kind of got ahead. I wanted to do like a Gopher series.
Oh, good. I'm a big believer that it all like works out.
Absolutely.
I was alluding to earlier, like I'm fine. Like these pieces actually were at Gina's in Spencerville, and most of these pieces ended up like being on exhibit, and then you couldn't go back to pick up your pieces. So these were like in Spencerville for like 6 months, and
I
and
see.
a couple of the other pieces have been hanging in different places around the city for a while.
Just like, yeah, that's well, and it is such a brand that it is recognizable right away, right? I'm like, that's a Barb Defazio,
Thank you.
right? So I think that's great. Well, I'm going to share this around, but everyone go to redraspberrystudios.com or go to the Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Find her. If you do some custom work or if you buy something, let me know because I want to see it. You can showcase it on the show. So I want to thank Barb for coming out. And I have no epilogue to today. I came literally, I hate that I look like a ghost. So we're working on lighting. But I'm going to go fix my computer. But thank you. So tomorrow we have Thirsty Thursday. Hey Josh, what you drinking? That beer guy Josh will be drinking. So it's pretty much get to see what I see every night. One beer. So thank you all very much for coming. I'm ending the broadcast, and then Barb and I can chat for a bit, and then off I go. All right. Thanks, Barb, for coming.